The 2025 NBA playoffs tip off on Saturday, April 19th, and let me tell you something. The opening round is stacked, especially in the Western Conference. We got rematches, we got up-and-comers, we got superstars going head-to-head. You know I'm gonna tell you like it is, so let's break down every series, the key storylines, and who's got the edge. We're talking contenders and pretenders, folks. Will LeBron finally get his Lakers over the hump? Can Steph and the Warriors recapture their dynasty? And what about these young guns in OKC and Houston? They're hungry, they're talented, and they're coming for the throne. Buckle up, because this is gonna be a wild ride. We're talking high-flying dunks, clutch threes, and enough drama to make your head spin. You do not want to miss a single second of this. We're kicking things off with a barn burner in the West. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and the Oklahoma City Thunder, they're back, baby. SGA is playing like an MVP, Chet Holmgren is a defensive monster, and with Jalen Williams and a deep bench, this team is scary good. They swept the season series against Memphis, but don't think for a second that the Grizzlies are gonna roll over. Ja Morant, Desmond Bane, Jaren Jackson Jr. They're gonna bring the noise. This Memphis team, they're gonna play with a chip on their shoulder, they're gonna play with something to prove. This is gonna be a high-scoring, highlight reel series, folks, and I wouldn't be surprised if it goes down to the wire. Jalen Green, Alperen Sengun, these young fellas in Houston, they've got the Rockets soaring. They went from missing the play-in to a top seed, and that's impressive. But now they gotta face the champs, the Golden State Warriors. And let me tell you something, the Warriors got that dog in them. Steph Curry is still a walking bucket, Klay Thompson is back, and they added Jimmy Butler. That's right, Jimmy Butler in the Bay Area. This Warriors team is experienced, they're battle-tested, and they know what it takes to win a championship. The oddsmakers like Golden State, and I can't say I disagree. But don't count out Jalen Green and these young Rockets. They're gonna come out with something to prove. LeBron finally got his man. Luka Doncic is a Laker, and he's transformed that team overnight. Anthony Davis is healthy, they got a solid supporting cast, and they're looking like legitimate contenders. But don't sleep on the Minnesota Timberwolves. Anthony Edwards, this kid is a walking highlight reel. He's been on a tear all season, dropping buckets like it's nothing. And with Karl Anthony Towns and Rudy Gobert holding down the paint, this Timberwolves team is a problem. This series is gonna come down to star power, and I cannot wait to see Luka and Edwards go head-to-head. Chapter 4, Denver Nuggets versus LA Clippers. Can the Clippers clip the champs? The Denver Nuggets, the defending champs, they limped into the playoffs. Injuries, coaching changes, they've had their fair share of adversity. But you know what they say, never underestimate the heart of a champion. Nikola Jokic, Jamal Murray, Michael Porter Jr. When they're clicking, they're tough to beat. But the LA Clippers, they're coming in hot. Kawhi Leonard is back to his dominant self. Paul George is playing like an all-star, and they've got a deep roster with a chip on their shoulder. This is a rematch from 2 years ago when the Clippers knocked the Nuggets out of the playoffs. You know Jokic and the Nuggets haven't forgotten about that. This is gonna be a dogfight. Chapter 5, Cleveland Cavaliers versus Miami Heat. Can Miami pull off a miracle? The Cleveland Cavaliers, they've been the most dominant team in the East all season long. Darius Garland, Evan Mobley, Jared Allen, this team is young, they're hungry, and they're playing with a ton of confidence. They're the clear favorites in this series, and for good reason. But the Miami Heat, they're not just gonna roll over. They've been dealing with injuries all season. They're without Jimmy Butler, but this is a team that's known for its grit and determination. They're gonna play hard, they're gonna play physical, and they're gonna make life difficult for the Cavaliers. Can they pull off the upset? I wouldn't bet on it, but crazier things have happened in the NBA playoffs. Chapter 6, Boston Celtics versus Orlando Magic. Can the young guns shock the world? The Boston Celtics, they're loaded. Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Malcolm Brogdon, a deep bench. This team has all the pieces to win a championship. They're the heavy favorites in this series, and rightfully so. But the Orlando Magic, they're not just gonna roll over. Paolo Banchero and Franz Wagner, these young fellas are for real. They're playing with a ton of confidence. They're led by a defensive-minded coach in Jamal Mosley, and they're gonna make life difficult for the Celtics. Can they pull off the upset? It's a long shot, but don't be surprised if this series goes longer than people expect. Chapter 7, New York Knicks versus Detroit Pistons. Can the Knicks live up to the hype? The New York Knicks, they made some big moves in the offseason, bringing in Mikal Bridges and Karl Anthony Towns. On paper, this team looks like a contender, but they've struggled against the top teams in the league, and they're gonna have their hands full with the Detroit Pistons. Cade Cunningham, this kid is a superstar in the making. He's been carrying the Pistons all season long, and he's going to be a matchup nightmare for the Knicks. The Pistons won the season series 3-1, and they're feeling confident heading into this matchup. Can the Knicks silence the doubters and finally get past the first round? This is a must-win series for them. Chapter 8, Indiana Pacers vs. Milwaukee Bucks. Giannis is back. This is a rematch from last year's playoffs, and this time, Giannis Antetokounmpo is healthy and ready to dominate. The Milwaukee Bucks, they're one of the most experienced teams in the league, and they're hungry for another championship. But the Indiana Pacers, they're no slouches either. Tyrese Halliburton is a star, Buddy Hield and Miles Turner can fill it up, and they're going to give the Bucks everything they can handle. This series is going to come down to who wants it more. Can the Pacers pull off the upset, or will Giannis and the Bucks cruise to the second round? Outro, who will conquer the West? So there you have it, folks. The Western Conference playoffs are going to be an absolute dogfight. We got upsets brewing, we got superstars going head-to-head, and we got enough drama to last a lifetime. I can't wait to see how it all unfolds. Who do you think is going to come out on top? Will it be Shea and the Young Guns in OKC? Or will Steph and the Warriors remind everyone why they're the dynasty? And what about Luka and the Lakers? Can they finally get over the hump? Stay tuned for more updates and in-depth analysis as the 2025 NBA playoffs unfold. Who do you think will take home the championship? Let us know in the comments below.